bravefathers.com.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Let me put on my candle. I love this candle stuff. It's fun for me. Let's put on the timer. Good evening. My name is John Paul from bravefathers.com, and today we are talking about how to win against a female narcissist in UK family court. So if you are tuning in for the first time, I'm John Paul, as I said, from bravefathers.com. And what I talk about is strategies on how you can win in court. I'm a family court strategist, specifically in the UK family courts. However, if you live anywhere else in the world, I can still help you because some of the techniques and strategies are universal. So the things we are going to talk about today apply anywhere you are in the world. So I have personal experience with this issue, and I've also helped fathers to resolve issues with female narcissists, because unfortunately, if you are in family court, it's very likely or very possible that you are dealing with one. And it can be a very painful experience, very difficult experience to go through. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can really, really hurt you. So I'm going to jump straight into it. I have some slides. So let me put these slides in. Hopefully you can see it. I think you can see it. So, female narcissists in family courts. How to win and protect your children. Now, this broadcast is mainly focused on fathers. And the reason being is that's my specialization. So let me just see if I can move this. Slightly. So forgive me because yeah, I think that's better. So now it makes more sense. Right. Let's jump right in. So as I said, my specialization is helping fathers, and this, I should be put in this way, these are the slides that you can see I prepared, nothing fancy, very simple, and is mostly to help me, remember what I have to say, because there's a lot to cover. So, why is it important to have a strategy if you're dealing with a female narcissist in family court? Well, like I said earlier, you want to avoid very costly mistakes. If you don't know what you're doing, you will get trapped. The family court system is biased against fathers, whether it's systemic or whether it's human nature, whether it's cultural, that's irrelevant for this discussion. What matters is that there is a bias, and you will face a lot of issues that you may think are unfair. A lot of things will happen that are unfair. And the narcissist may not be aware of it right away, but once she realizes it, she'll start using it against you. So the sooner you educate yourself on what's going on and what to do, the more likely you are to win your case. So by knowing what to do, you increase those chances. Now, you also want to protect yourself from further danger, because a female narcissist will likely or possibly not stop in the family court. She may try to bring some kind of criminal procedure against you, even if you're innocent, even if you've not done anything wrong. She may try to destroy your life, right? She may try to put people against you. There is no end to what she could do to make your life harder. So by preparing yourself ahead of time and knowing what to do, you avoid those dangers. And remember, you're also trying to protect your children. If your children are being abused by this person, you have to do your best to avoid that. So let's look at how the narcissist usually gets into your life, how she finds herself in position to hurt you. So the first thing usually is love bombing, right? So she'll give you lots of attention, lots of sex. She will listen to your stories. She will listen to you vent. Like how some people like to say, she'll make you feel like a man. And that's a trap. Now, as an aside, I do believe that, it's not something a man should rely on for a female to make him feel like a man, because that by itself avoids this kind of traps. But when she senses that you want that compassion, that love, that care, and you've not had much of it, or maybe other females have not given it to you, she will give you that because she knows that's how she's going to lure you in. That's the bait. So that's where she seems to be the perfect female you've been dreaming of. And what she will do is she will listen to everything you say very carefully and pay close attention to all your words, your actions, what you do and what you don't do. Then based on that, she'll construct a model of the female you are searching for, of who your perfect woman is. And then she's going to pretend to be that woman. And she's going to act like that woman because she knows exactly what you want. So all the while she is, what's the word? She's making her web. She is, what's the word for, not knitting, knitting. Oh, I don't want to get stuck on this word. Weaving. She's weaving her web. She is letting her roots sink into your life, right? She's getting into it. And then you will trust her, you will love her, you start telling her your secrets. So yeah, going deeper into it. You may tell your friends how amazing she is. And in fact, when your friends come over, she may give you special kind of treatment, knowing that your friends are jealous, knowing you feel cool, you feel so important, you feel valued. And then that's how her claws get deeper into your life. But over time, you will notice that the little insults, little jabs, little negative attitudes start creeping in. And a lot of males wrongly believe that it's something they've done wrong. But usually it's nothing they've done wrong. It's basically the female has already laid her traps and she's tired of pretending, of acting. Plus, she probably despises you. Part of it is because of her condition. Part of it is she just doesn't like how easy she can control you, and that turns her off. So she starts disrespecting you. And one day, she'll just discard you. And usually what she'll do is she'll figure out the most painful way to hurt you. How she could dump you or discard you in a way that would hurt you the most, that would give you the highest degree of humiliation. She will use all the information she has on you, all the little things that, could cut you, and then combine it all into the most painful package she can create, right? So you may come home and she's just gone, or she's maybe not picking up your phone calls, or she's gone around to tell people you beat her up, or she may call police on you, get you arrested, and when you come back, she's gone, or lock you out of your own house. In the UK, she could get an occupation order, so she could get a non-mol and an occupation order, and then the molestation order is essentially a restraining order. So what will happen is, she gets those orders from the court and put you out of the house in humiliation, and then you would be arrested and prosecuted if you do come near her or even come into the house. And it doesn't matter if you bought the house with your money. It doesn't matter if it's only your name on the house. She could still get it from you, even if you are not married. Even if you are not married, she might be able to get a non-molestation order, especially if there are children. So that's just one way. There are various ways, again, to be specific to what would hurt you the most. So if she feels like she wants something else from you, or she's not done with you yet, she'll hoover you back in. So she'll start being nice. She may say sorry for what she did. She may take you out on a special trip, and you know, just to show you how sorry she is, cook you the kind of food you want, bring back the sex that you like, the attention and so forth. And then inevitably, she'll discard you again. And a lot of males, especially if you're not experienced with dealing with females, you may very easily fall into that trap, because you may have a perception that a female would never do this, but a female narcissist will defy everything you believe in. So that's why you may end up feeling distraught, very disoriented, very confused, because the behavior just doesn't make sense. And the worst part is, the narcissist, whether female or male, will usually have a very good public image, where people think that's a great person, a very nice person. So if you start now complaining about this person, you will look like the bad guy, because nobody will believe you. A lot of times that's what happens. And that's what makes it so much more difficult to fight this fight, especially in family courts. So she will likely smear your reputation as well. And what I didn't know in the beginning is that the smearing starts even during the love bombing stage. So while she may be fucking you like a bunny, she may be going around saying you're forcing her to have sex with her, for example, with you. Or she'll just find some other things to say about you, or twist little secrets you've told her, twist your words so there's some truth to it, and then be telling it to people. All the while she's treating you like a king. So you don't suspect what's going on. And that's what makes it so insidious and so dangerous, because by the time you realize what's happening, you've been under attack for a while. It could have been months, even a couple of years, before you realize the full extent of the attack you've been in. And unfortunately, some fathers don't have the will to live anymore after such an experience. And it's even more painful when you can't see your kids, or if she tries to turn your kids around you. So this information is very important, because without it, you may just become another statistic in those who failed. And while there are no guarantees, you have a chance, a fighting chance, if you know what you're doing. And this is the kind of stuff that lots of fathers, such as myself, I wish I knew years and years ago, to avoid certain situations. So let's see what we've got here. So who is a female narcissist? So essentially, it's an adult female who has the narcissistic personality disorder. So whichever jurisdiction you live in, there will be a different definition. When I say jurisdiction, I just mean your country is a psychiatric term, I believe, a psychological term. And the court may or may not recognize it. That's not relevant, because you're not going to run to the court. Never do that, by the way, to say that she's a narcissist. She may be diagnosed or undiagnosed, but you will know, because the simplest definition that I have found that works for me is a person who is incapable of admitting and accepting they are wrong on a genuine level. So they might lie and say they're wrong or they're sorry, but in their mind they think they're always right. And even when they hurt you, they think they're still the victim, and they still think you are the bad guy, and they still think they are right. They can't perceive a world in which they are wrong, or in which they are mistaken. And when they do feel that way, that's when they go into narcissistic rage. And if you have seen one before, you know how crazy it is. It looks demonic. It's like nothing, you can't compare anything. Like there's people who get angry or have quick temper, but a narcissistic rage is insane, right? They would scream, break things, fight, hit people. Their voice changes. You see veins popping out. The eyes look different. They look crazy. So the moment they feel threatened and they feel like they are being exposed, that's when you can tell that they are a narcissist. Not everybody who's abusive is a narcissist. Not every spiteful mother is a narcissist. Not every mother who tries to hurt you or hates you is a narcissist. So obviously don't go diagnosing people because you can't. But if you recognize the stages of love bombing and then devaluation, where she starts putting you down, making you appear worse than you are, and then finally a discard, then you know you're dealing with a narcissist. And some are really good, and this applies to both males and females. Some are very good at hiding their narcissism. They are really, really good. And many can hide it for a long time. The truth is, instinctively, you know something is wrong. You will know this person is dishonest. You will know. Often we lie to ourselves because we saw the perfect image of that woman she was portraying that we've always dreamed of. And we allow ourselves to fall for that illusion. But deep inside, we already know. So while it takes time to discover that that's what the person does, that is a narcissist, you see it. So look up your own definition, but if any of the things I'm describing match your experience, then yeah, possibly dealing with a narcissist. And I should say at this point that nothing I say henceforth and what I've said up to this point represents legal advice or psychiatric advice or psychological advice. I am not qualified to give any of that advice. I'm not a legal professional. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a man who dedicated his life to learning this stuff and to understanding this stuff, and who knows how to get results. But just treat my opinion as you would in any discussion, with a friend, or just treat it as entertainment. Okay? I have to make this disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. None of this is legal advice. And do seek independent legal advice. So, the secret to dealing with a female narcissist is it's all about hiding her abusive behavior and securing narcissistic supply. So what do I mean by that? So let me make myself big for a moment and speak on that for a little bit. Oh, my timer is not on. So, the secret to dealing with a female narcissist is to understand that it's all about, for her, it's all about securing narcissistic supply and hiding her abusive behavior, her abusive nature. She wants people to believe she's the perfect being and she will mold herself to suit the environment she's in. And she wants to secure narcissistic supply. And what's that supply? Is essentially focused attention, where you don't see anything else besides her, where she becomes the center of your universe. Nothing else must exist beside her. I believe that's partly because narcissists have manufactured personalities. They don't exist. They're all personas. They're like a house of cards. So every little thing, a little flick, could just break it all down. But the narcissistic supply It's energy that keeps that fake persona alive, right? It's like a battery. And she needs your energy, your life force, to pretend that she is who she is. She doesn't have a character because she discarded her character way, way back when she was a child. And every single action that she does is constructed and adapted to create an image to other people. So imagine being an actor that never stops acting. That would be draining, and it is draining on them. And that's why they constantly need to feed on people. That's why you can never, ever satisfy them. And because they can't see that they are doing anything wrong, they will never change their action. Because again, if they were to realize they were doing something wrong, that's like the flake that breaks down the house of cards. She disappears, her persona disappears. And if that disappears, there's nothing left there. So that's where they go into the rage. And interestingly enough, that rage gets your focused attention on her, right? And everybody who's around will focus their attention on the narcissist. And there comes another important point about this. Another important point about this. The attention you give her doesn't have to be positive attention. So a lot of people wrongly think that you could shame a narcissist. No. As long as you're paying attention to her, she wants that. You could be saying the worst things about her, the most horrible things about her. As long as there's something you are reacting to, she wants that. She needs that energy, positive or negative, because again, you are feeding a persona that does not exist. It's all constructed based on ideas that she's developed over years since childhood. And so any form of energy keeps it alive. So let's go back to our slide. So this is the warning. A lot of people go back to the narcissist. I was told once that a typical male will go back to such a female 7 times on average before quitting the relationship. And these relationships are very addictive, right? Because there's so much up and down with the love bombing and then the horrible stuff. But you must find a way not to go back if you feel tempted to go back to that person, because you will be punished beyond your wildest dreams. And it's very sad to see a lot of people, sharing advice, relationship advice, marriage advice, either not knowing or ignoring the fact that a lot of people have personality disorders. If someone treats you badly, at all, but especially if it's over an extended period of time, there is no coming back from it. People who hurt people know they are hurting people. You are not going to change them. And no matter how much they cry and they break down to come back to you, they will do it again, because that's just what they do. And it's sad because people, they wait too long before they realize that. And there's so many men and women who suffer unnecessarily because our society promotes staying in relationships. I would argue rushing into relationships. And these things happen. So don't ever go back if you're in that situation. Also, if you're in immediate danger, make sure you call 999 or 911, depending on where you are, so that you access emergency services. Because the fact that she's a female does not mean she's allowed to hurt you. Make sure you gather the evidence, and we talk about that. And don't think you will not be always believed. Once you understand this now and you change your attitude based on the things I'm about to share with you, you will be more likely to be believed. And I've seen it myself on many occasions where the police realize that the narcissist is in the wrong, right? Especially if you learn how to stay calm in these situations. So we want to talk about the most dangerous tactic that a female narcissist uses. So one thing she does is she'll tell the truth about what happened. So she'll describe the event exactly as it happened. So of course it will sound credible. So if you're in court and she's being asked questions or she has a written statement, don't be surprised if the events she describes are true. The only thing she's going to change is who was the victim and who was the perpetrator. So let's say you were watching TV and then for some reason she got angry and spilled your drink, turned off the TV and then smashed your phone. She's gonna say that that happened, but she's gonna turn it around. She'll say, you know, she was watching some kind of, let's say, rom-com or whatever, and then you came over, spilled a drink, turned off the TV and smashed her phone. Right? And then you'll be confused because you're like, yeah, that really happened, but it was the other way around. And what's even more dangerous is she may actually preempt you by saying that's what you do. So she'll actually tell the court that you state events that actually happened, but you flip them. So now you are at risk of looking crazy because you are saying the same thing, and the judge doesn't know who is wrong and who is right, and it's a very dangerous situation. But when you're aware of it and you prepare yourself ahead of time, it doesn't push you off guard. Because one thing you can do is you can say to the judge that, look, you understand that this looks very difficult to discern who is telling the truth and who is lying, but you believe a cross-examination will reveal who's lying and who's telling the truth, and you're more than happy to do it. If you get a chance to do a Part 25 application for an expert witness, where you can get an actual psychiatrist to analyze the situation, it's very difficult to get permission from the court and it is expensive. But if you're in a position to do that, then that might expose things. So you have to be careful because, again, the court is biased, and what I've noticed is sometimes they know you're saying the truth, but they just want to side with the mother for whatever reason. And one of them could be just political pressure. I don't know details of what the judiciary goes through, but I know they are not all honest people, or at least not the way you might think they are. And so you still might be able to get permission. It's tricky. Details of that are not part of today, but if you get a chance to have an expert psychiatrist or psychologist, that might be really good for your case, and I've seen that work. So let's look at some tactics for winning. So one is she's going to lie. All right? So you want to use that to your advantage. How? You can set up little traps ahead of time, knowing that she's going to lie. You can create evidence, or create evidence, forgive me. You can create a statement that portrays your evidence and knowing that she's going to lie about it, and then you present it afterwards, right? You show a series of lies, which shows that she's not a reliable witness. She's not somebody who can be trusted. That's why you want to gather all evidence you can get beyond what you think you need. When you realize what's happening and you are planning to leave her, start getting receipts from the shops. Make it a habit. Because a receipt showing that you were at a certain place could save you. And there was a case recently, I can't recall the details, where that's what saved a man from his accusations, because he could show a receipt that he was too far away from the scene at the time. You want to constantly prepare. You want to be reading case law. You want to be watching shows like mine. There are other great shows. Father X comes to mind if you live in the United States. There is so many others that unfortunately I don't have right now. I can't recall the names of the websites. I will create a resource list, but it's something you want to consider. You want to speak to somebody who knows how to deal with the family courts. You have to prepare constantly. If you are dealing with a female narcissist, you are already at such a disadvantage. Without preparation, you don't have a chance. You might as well quit. You will have to put, for every hour you're going to spend in court, depending on how complex your case is, because every case is different, you may have to spend 10 hours for each hour. In some cases, you may have to spend 40 hours for each hour. And that may seem like a lot, but if you consider that you often wait 2-3 months between hearings, that's an hour a day, right? Or an hour or two a day before the hearing. And you have to make it a constant habit. This is not something that you can, watch a video or two or just keep watching videos and win. It's not gonna happen. And in most cases, without expert help, you're not going to win. I spoke to lots of solicitors, lots of lawyers, lots of professionals to help me when I needed help, because you need way more than usual than if you're dealing with a regular person. So use those court delays to your advantage, to be preparing in between. There's some heavy stuff, So you want to know her story better than she knows it, because she's going to change her story. She's going to forget what she said, right? Because often the lies will be made on the fly. Not all, but many of the lies. So you should know every single detail of the story. And it's going to be very painful. It's going to be difficult because, again, you're going to know lies about yourself. But you have to know them, because you have to be ready with counter arguments. You have to be ready with proof that you're not the kind of person that she's portraying you to be, and that you didn't do the things she's alleging you did. Because, again, false allegations will come. You can't avoid them. And that's what narcissists count on. She wants to trigger you in court, because that's where she makes you look bad. So what I do in the UK, what you can get is you can get a screen where you don't see her at all. And you can request that, and you will be given that in court. I've seen one case where the staff was somewhat reluctant for some unknown reason to me, but the judge, of course, said no. You can have those screens. Nobody's forced to look at their partner. I don't know about other countries whether you have something like that, but if you can avoid looking at her, then you do that. So work on getting your life together, because that's the most important part. The more you develop yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically, and intellectually, the more likely you are to win, the easier you will find it to win your case. You will feel better about yourself first and foremost, and it's going to be difficult, right? But the effort you make will make you that much stronger. So you can use that whole situation to your advantage and actually become a better, stronger, more powerful man. And on the flip side, that creates the contrast between you and the female narcissist. Because when she goes to tell people bad things about you, and then once you've really developed yourself, obviously it will not be true. It will be very clear, like night and day, that what she's saying doesn't make sense. You will not get triggered. And often if you don't get triggered, she'll get triggered. So she'll expose herself. She'll show the people around in the courtroom what she is like. And I've seen this happen on several occasions. Now, again, because there is a bias in court, sometimes they'll just ignore it. I've seen situations where they'll actually be on her side because she's upset. But that doesn't matter. It's better for her to act out and you stay calm than for you to act out, right? You don't want to be the one who's causing a commotion in court, or that is very angry, or that's looking upset, or that's looking unhinged, because then you just lose all credibility. So those are the most important things, if you have a dream that you've always put aside, this is the time to do it. Because one thing you learn when you deal with a narcissist is that life waits for nobody. As many fathers will tell you, dealing with such a person takes away years of your life, because you are now in court and going through all kinds of hell. If your relationship was hell, or is hell if you are in, still working on how to get out. There is no getting, there's no way to get those years back and that time back. So once you separate from her, you want to be able to work on yourself and work on what you really want, because that's going to give you life energy that will neutralize her. Because what narcissists feed on is your fear and your helplessness. Those are the two things that give them strength and confidence to keep hurting you. But once you become stronger, there's nothing much you can do. So some of the tips I would give you is, don't try to expose her. Don't focus on exposing her, because by doing that, you're still expending energy, if only psychic energy, on her. So you're giving her narcissistic supply, and she will sense it when you're in her presence. She'll realize you're focused on her. You have to detach so much so that you almost forget she exists. Remember, when you're in court, you're not really dealing with her. You're dealing with the judge. The judge is who you need to focus your attention on to present your case and to show them that you are the kind of person who should be given a chance to be in your children's lives. So don't focus on her at all. The more you focus on yourself, the more likely she is to expose herself, because she doesn't get to feed off your energy. The good thing about the courts is, as biased as they are, on the fundamental level, they don't care. The bias is not synonymous with caring. It's just a bias. It's just the easier way to do it. It's just convenient, the path of least resistance. So you want to create a path of least resistance which leads to yourself. And again, you do that by doing the hard work. But because the court does not care, they're not going to give her attention. When you are speaking, she's not getting any of the attention. So you may experience she'll be interrupting you, trying to make noise, trying to distract or disrupt the courtroom. And judges don't like that. So if you stay calm under those situations, then you get the upper hand over time. But if you react, you will either be seen as the bad guy or just as bad as her, right? So your ability to not react is key. But you can't just, act stoic. You really have to not react at all on the visceral level. So how do you do that? Well, what has worked for me is spending hours on introspection, dedicating time where I'm by myself. I take a pen, a piece of paper. I would write down all the things that trigger me. And this was especially important in the beginning. So I wrote down everything that triggered me, that she would say, that would get me angry, that would get me hurt, that would get me upset. All the events that hurt me, I'll write them down. All the things that were unfair, all the betrayals. And I had a long list of things, really long list of things. And it was very painful writing that list. And I was upset, and I would scream, and I would cry. I rented this apartment in a shadier part of town because it was very cheap. And that was my place to go and vent, because everything and everyone there was kind of in a dark place. And that helped me to purge a lot of the negative energy, to just let go and allow myself to heal from what I had experienced, right? So lots of people all around the world I know have tried that kind of system. If you're a Christian, you don't have to be a Christian, but there's a prayer called the Sozo prayer. I don't know if they still do it, S-O-Z-O. That is very helpful as well, because it helps to reconnect you with yourself. It's a very different kind of prayer, and I did it a few times. It really, really helped with some of the trauma I had in the past. Obviously, a good therapist that is familiar with narcissistic abuse can help, but it's very difficult to find someone who really knows narcissistic abuse, because it's not the kind of stuff you can understand by reading. And obviously you've experienced it, so you know how people can't relate to it because they've never seen it. They've never experienced the depth of damage that this kind of abuse creates and again, it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female who does it to you. It's really bad. But of course we are focusing on female narcissists here because we're helping fathers in relationships who have children with such females. So one thing that is important to understand is that when you meet such a person, it's easy for you to start giving up on life and to give up on dating, right? But I see it now as an opportunity to actually become bigger, better, and stronger, more powerful than you've ever been. And by doing that, when you come to court, you come with a different presence. You want to take on more responsibility than you ever did. And it's the kind of responsibility that serves you. So if you have a business, expand your business. If you want to start a business, start your business. If you're at your work, become the best at your work. If you're already the best at your work, become the best in the industry. Raise yourself to another level. Use the pain and the anger, channel it into something positive for you. And also let go of the trauma. Don't hold on to the resentment. I know it's difficult to forgive someone who has done things like that to you, but forgiveness doesn't mean agree with it. It just means you let go. It doesn't matter anymore. Because there are wonderful people out there, and there are wonderful females who actually treat you like a king without abusing you. But you have to first learn how to treat yourself like a king. You have to get to a level where you value yourself above everybody else, and frankly above your children, and put real effort into yourself. And it's counterintuitive, but when you do that, you become a better father because now you are stronger, more powerful, you can become a better example, and loving your kids is part of you. So that means your love for your children will be above everything else as well. And your children will feel it, and they will follow you. They will start valuing themselves. No matter what happens, there will always be a part of them that will know there is a better way. And they may not show it right away, but they will appreciate it, and they will appreciate you for doing it, for living a good life. Don't think it's your time to sacrifice yourself, because this is not a sacrifice that is worth anything. You're not put on earth to be a sacrificial lamb. You're a man. You are a man. You are a man. And that in itself is the most amazing thing that could happen. And I know the society tries to make you feel otherwise, like being a man means you are worth less or you don't have intrinsic value. And a lot of people believe that. If you follow me on X, you know I argue with people about this all the time, because people think males don't have intrinsic value, that they have to earn their value. And that's what narcissistic females prey on, because if you believe that, they will drain you. They will play to it. They may even give you a chance to prove your value and act like, oh wow, you're proving yourself to me. And then when the moment is right, they will discard you. Because there's no money on the planet that can bribe a narcissist from hurting you. They love to hurt people. They feed on that. So your best way to protect yourself is actually to take better care of yourself. And that will also cause the narcissist to expose herself. Because when she realizes that you're getting praise, you're getting admiration, she cannot stand it. And I've seen it happen in court. when a judge will say something good, then she'll react to it. She will expose herself. When people praise you, she will not like it because she wants the attention to be on herself and she wants people to think lowly of you. And one last important thing on winning, when it comes to yourself, is going no contact. That is something a lot of fathers struggle with, and they always find an excuse to go back. And frankly, very often, and I've seen it happen, the female can tempt them to come back with sex. And you have to learn how to resist that urge. You have to completely cut off all communication other than things that are related to their children. So a parenting app is the best way to go about this, because on a parenting app, everything you say, my neck is hurting, everything you say gets recorded and it can't be deleted. So if she says something bad about you, it's going to be on record. So obviously don't say anything bad to her. Keep your communication very simple, very concise. That will also help prevent any miscommunication when if the court reads it, but that may also cause her to reveal herself, because narcissists cannot stand being ignored. They cannot stand being ignored. Now, you may also deal with your children not respecting you or disrespecting you. It's possible to fight that in court. It's very difficult, especially with the new laws that are being attempted to change. But it's possible to get the Kafka's officer or the social workers involved to actually report or notice those things. And many fathers win when it's clear that the narcissistic mother, or any mother for that matter, is exhibiting behaviors that alienate children. And contrary to popular belief, courts do recognize it, but it's very difficult. And that's why your preparation is so important, and knowing how to go about it matters. But your biggest weapon here is just going no contact. Use a parenting app. Start building up your own energy and cut off the supply of your energy to the narcissist. No contact means you don't spend time thinking about her. You don't spend time talking about her. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. But it's the only way. You ignore her completely. You almost act like that didn't happen, or it's just a past, because it is the past. It's a past time in your life. It's done. It's over with. And you let it go. So I'm going to recap quickly what we've discussed today. So that you know exactly what we're dealing with. So the key strategies are: use her lies to your advantage, right? So you know she's gonna keep changing the story. So you want to bear that in mind. Keep track of everything. Have evidence to prove the lies. So gather evidence. Keep gathering the evidence. Constantly prepare. Your whole free time should be spent on preparing. Dedicate time to preparation for your court case. There will be court delays, so that gives you more time to prepare. Yes, I know it's sad, but that's what you've got to do. Use that time to grieve, because this is something you need to be grieving. You've given your love, you've given your energy, your time, your effort, your hard worked for money, and your children. You can't, if you give this woman children and you can't see them, that's very painful, but you need to grieve, and you need to let go of the pain. It is possible to let go of the suffering. It is. I'm not saying you ever feel satisfied with it, but you can really, really thrive and be happy if you allow yourself to, and you have a stronger chance to win because you have a clearer head, and the narcissist is more likely to expose herself when you're doing well. So again, know her story better than she knows it, because that's why you can catch her in the lies. When you're preparing questions for the cross-examination, that's when you need that. And then more importantly, above anything else, work on getting your life together. And that's the most important part. Remember, there'll be times she will tell the truth, but she will reverse what happened. So if she did something to you, she will say you did it to her. That's why, again, all the other tips matter, because then you can expose the lie when it's time. She will smear your reputation, and if she hoovers you to come back, don't fall for it, because she's probably fishing for more information. She wants you to give her energy, and she wants to make you feel bad, or she wants to create a situation, which I've seen happen, where you could literally go to jail for something you have not done. She'll lie about your encounter with her. So your best bet is to stay away from her completely once you have this information. Now, if you are living with one right now, don't confront her, because the biggest mistake you can do is to confront a narcissist and say, hey, I know you're a narcissist. That's not going to work in your favor. That's like telling a demon, I know you're a demon. It's not going to turn the demon into a good angel. That's not going to happen. So you have to be willing to work this out in silence. Choose at most one friend that you trust, but find somebody you can really talk to, ideally from outside your circles, who knows how to deal with this stuff, because even your friends may be well-wishing, and I've seen situations where the friend will go and tell the narcissist what's going on. It happens. So no contact means no contact at all, even via another person. Again, you can send messages about logistics, about your kids, but that should be it, right? So remember, she's all about hiding her abusive behavior and gaining narcissistic supply. But never try to expose her directly, because she's had years of experience hiding that abuse. She'll flip it all around and make you look bad. Instead, you cut off the narcissistic supply. You cut off the attention you give her. You cut off the anxiety you have by grieving, by having therapy, by doing introspection, right? Spending quality time with yourself, by getting your life together. You will eliminate all these little triggers that give her hooks into you. And then she will expose herself, because once she doesn't have supply, she will react, because she will want you to return, she wants to return the energy that she's expended. And that's another thing to know about narcissists, is that they expend energy, but they must get a return on it. That's why very often they have closed systems. That's why often they isolate their victims, so that that it hits when they attack. Because they run on false energy and they are a false self, they cannot shoot indiscriminately, so to speak. It has to be targeted. So when you don't react, that's a wasted energy that they can't remanufacture. Narcissists cannot manufacture their own energy. They don't manufacture their own life force. They need you, they need other victims, they need other people to give them the energy, the life force to validate their existence. So when they don't have it, they react in a very crazy, scary, strange way. So you need to be able to stay calm, and it's counterintuitive, but the more you try to expose the narcissist, the harder it's going to be. It's like a fly in a spider web. The more the fly moves, the more the fly gets entangled. The good news for you is that you can cut it off. You can cut the web by cutting off the narcissistic supply. So look up the definition in your jurisdiction, wherever you live. But the most important to know is a narcissist is a false persona, a false character that will never accept when they are wrong, and they need your energy to survive, to keep themselves alive. When I say alive, in terms of that persona, right? Not physically, not the physical body. So quickly, she will love bomb you with sex and attention. She will seem to be the perfect person that you've always dreamed of, and that's how she lures you in. Over time, she'll start disrespecting you, and it will increase over time. She'll devalue you, and then all of a sudden, she'll discard you. By the time you're discarded, you've already been smeared to other people, so your reputation may be ruined, and you will feel very distraught and disoriented because you'll be confused about what's going on. You may have family and friends that you've known for a long time turn away from you, and that's very painful. She may hoover you when nobody else has time for her. When people discover who she is, they abandon her. And you may have noticed in the beginning, when you met her, she may have said how people, treat her badly, how maybe people are jealous of her, or for whatever reason, people don't like her. And you may have been defending her in the beginning, not knowing that they are her past victims, and now you are the new one on the list. So when she meets the new guy that she's dating, which she will, she'll now interpret your defense of yourself and your fight in the court as your attack on her. And that person will try to protect her until they get discarded, and it's just a cycle. So to conclude, there are narcissistic people out there. There are narcissistic females out there, and you have to learn how to protect yourself from them, because they can ruin your life. They can take you to darker places than you ever existed, and they can put you in positions where you do things that you never wanted to do, right? To be the kind of person that you never wanted to be. Nobody, dreams of going to family court, trying to win cases, but you may have to do that. You may have to spend hours reading law just to get a chance to tell your lawyer what to do, because a lot of times lawyers don't even know what to do. So if you need help, reach out, ask questions, comment, subscribe, follow. I will be putting out more material, and just know that there is a way out. No matter how hopeless you think things are, there is a way out. There is a way out. We are not stuck in this forever, even though it may feel that way right now. So you can find me at bravefathers.com. I'm always there to help you. As of now, at the time of this show, I still give people, for the first time, a 1 hour free consultation to help them out. When I was going through my situation, I had lots of amazing people give me their time. So it's only fair that I do the same, and I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. So I really encourage you to get in touch. Find a therapist if that's what you prefer, or do both. Make sure you find somebody who really understands narcissistic abuse from experience, whether through dealing with loads of patients, or maybe they have gone through the same thing themselves. But find somebody who knows what they're doing, because this is different from anything else you have experienced in your life. So keep the faith, get in touch. I'm right here ready to help you. Ask any questions you have, and I'm gonna see you the next time we speak at the next show. So, thank you so much. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. And we'll speak again soon. Take care.
BlameFathers.com